Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Weekly Pick'em Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. The NFL Weekly Pick'em Show is brought to you by BetNow.eu to get a 100% cash back bonus until the end of the month now. That's been extended. Make sure you go to BetNow.eu, click on the promo code Truth100, or just go to the GruelingTruth.com banner, click it at the top of the page, promo code Truth100. All right, I am your co-host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in my other co-hosts. First up, his team is undefeated. Matt Andruscavage. How you doing, Matt?
I am good. Thanks for having me.
Quit being so cocky. Next up,
That's right.
His team is winless like mine. Help me welcome to the show, Brian Schmidt.
We have never been able to say that, so
yeah, probably.
It's an interesting feeling right now. An interesting feeling.
All right, and another man whose team is winless also. He is the president of the A.J. McCarron Fan Club up in Toronto, Canada. Help me welcome to the show, Scott Wilson. How you doing, Scott?
Hi, Mike. I appreciate the link to A.J. McCarron every week.
Hey, did your wife chain
great.
you up in the basement again? Because I can barely hear you, and I know sometimes the shackle around your neck will squeeze your voice box.
Damn it. I'm trying to get a freaking Wi-Fi, stupid ass.
It's not the Wi-Fi, it's your voice. You sound terrible tonight, Scott. What's
No,
wrong?
I will never coach my kids' soccer team and my junior high
Whoa,
football
hey,
team
hey,
at the same
the
time
FCC could bust us for bad words. Don't say that on air.
I'm just saying this has been not that, just a bad idea. It's wearing me out. But anyway, I've learned so much from you, Mike, so I'm just excited to get to parts of it because you're awesome this night.
All right, Scott. Scott's trying to stay on the show for another week. All right,
Wow.
So he is right, though, because last week I said I would never get less than 9 right again. And Matt, who won last week?
You won. It's
Thank
first
you.
time for everything.
It's not a
Good
first time
job.
for everything. It's the first of many. This will be like 14 straight weeks where I win. And when we look back at this past week, Matt, what's the big thing that stuck out to you?
Any given Sunday, you got the New Orleans Saints. That had to be the surprise of the week for me. Going into Seattle, of all places, without Drew Brees and showing that literally anything can happen any of these weeks. And that was a surprise to me. Got 8 undefeated teams still. The Kansas City Chiefs look really good. Just some good football last week, some bad football.
All right, Brian.
Well, just kind of going on the whole undefeated thing. The Detroit Lions 2-0-1. That's kind of a shocker.
Yeah.
Not to me, and y'all mocked me when I said they could make the playoffs at the start of the year.
Well, we'll see. But, they've been playing pretty well. How bad are the Dolphins? I think that's something we're going to be able to say every week because that's just bad football. It was interesting week. The Giants getting that win, even though it was against the Buccaneers. The Giants getting that win, that was pretty interesting. And kind of now seeing where everybody's thoughts on Jones. Now all of a sudden, the Giant fans are going, well, this guy might be pretty good. When they drafted him, I thought people were ready to tie a noose around their neck. So some interesting football right now. But still, I kind of go back to something Matt said, and that's the overall play, once again, is just not very good right now in the NFL.
All right, Scott?
So first thing I see is I'm still waiting on a text from you, Mike, because of my accuracy and what I've said about Andy Dalton, about this team. I think the Bengals, I don't know why people were surprised that this team is – here's the thing. They looked respectable, and I think if you listen to the way this coach, the approach he's taking, the things that Mike Brown has said. No, I just think it's different. Another thing that surprised me, I do.
They're 0-3, Scott. And
no. Listen, the Bengals, Mike. Listen, you're missing my point. The Bengals are bad. They may go with 16.
Yeah, and the approach is the same. The approach is worse.
No, stop. This is not. If we disagree with you, you say stop. Let me talk, because I will tell you why.
I could mute you, but go ahead.
No, that's perfect impression too. No, another thing I was surprised about was Daniel. People were like, "Well, Daniel Jones." Like, again, I think that, like, there's some good I don't know how accurate Walter football is, but if you look at some of these scouting reports and read what they say, like, if you want to see something funny, go read Andy Dalton's scouting report on Walter football. It's hilarious. Anyway, I think Daniel Jones is a really, really good quarterback, and he's in a good situation because he doesn't have to play. I'm just surprised that people were surprised because he's looked pretty good so far.
What do you mean Daniel Jones doesn't have to play? What do you mean by that?
Well, I think because they're not in a situation where Eli's still there, And so I know did he get hurt?
He's not anymore. No, they benched him. Daniel Jones has to play. This is it for Daniel Jones. And come on, Scott.
What I'm saying, here's what I'm saying. With Daniel Jones, like, if he goes 500, so what? No one's going to – he could go 4-12. He can suck the entire year, and no one's going to say a word. He's in a great situation.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. He's the sixth pick in the draft. He's the sixth pick in the draft.
He's got to play well.
And now the problem is this. He just won a game, which makes it even worse. And this is the thing.
And Saquon Barkley's out.
Yeah, this is the thing. He won a road game. In a road game, there's no pressure. He won that road game. Now he comes home to New York, and everything is 100 times brighter on him. He's in New York. He has to win.
Yes, he has to win. I mean, the New York media, they're known for their patience.
Yeah, I think that he has the demeanor to be successful here. Now, I'm still a guy that's not convinced about Patrick Mahomes because it's 1 year, a little over a year. Show me something more. Troy Aikman made the statement that Patrick Mahomes hasn't really done anything yet because he hasn't. If he's still playing like this 3 years from now, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. But, Brian, how many times have we seen a guy that for a year or two looks like he's the second coming, and then all of a sudden he's just another guy?
Well, that was, kind of going with the Daniel Jones, and also that point right there is, look, great game on the road, and you're right. There's no pressure on him. Let's be honest. He was playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
This wasn't like he went his first game as a professional quarterback starting against the New England Patriots. It was Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Great win, but now the lights are going to get brighter. I think he has it. I mean, everybody was so down on him, especially in the New York market. I think he has the opportunity to be a good quarterback, but we're not going to know that for 2, 3, 4 years. The Giants have got to get better as far as their offensive line and a lot of different things that they've got to do. But he's got a lot of pressure on him right now. There absolutely is no way that he's playing with no pressure right now because it's about to get brighter. The worst thing that could have happened for him was he won this game. The best thing that could have happened for him was he won this game, obviously. But there's going to be a lot of pressure right now, and if he goes 4-12, it's going to be like being thrown into a fire. So, yeah, I'm not seeing that at all.
There you go. So, Scott, you lose the opening of the show.
What?
Yeah. You lost. I'll tell you, you're lucky this isn't Survivor, or we'd kick you off right now.
No, it'll be entertainment to keep me on here.
There's not a starting quarterback in the NFL that doesn't have a ton of pressure on him. And if you're in New York, that pressure is magnified.
Oh, the media, I don't think anybody I know Deion Sanders loved Cincinnati because he was away from the media. I think you're right, Mike. It's until you're there, man, they're in your face. They point out everything, and it's magnified. Like, if you're having a bad week, It's it'd be like a bad year.
So what you're saying is everything you said at the start of this absolutely was wrong.
Which about what?
About he had no pressure on him. Now you're saying that everything's magnified on him.
No. I think here's the thing. He doesn't have to be. He's not going to be defined by his wins this year. Now that's pretty intelligent what I just said.
No, it's not, because this is the thing. There's no other way that a quarterback gets defined than by wins.
Mike, it is not win or go to hell like your mindset with everybody.
We'll see. That's your mindset with everybody, because Andy Dalton has won like 65% of the games he's ever been the starting quarterback in, but yet you say he's not any good.
I was just going to say that, Mike.
Time out. Look at his record against teams that are above 500, and look at his record in those games.
Okay, but what if Daniel Jones doesn't play well?
Okay, so Daniel Jones is now 1-0 against teams below 500. He's never beaten or even played against a team that was above 500, Scott. And the other thing is this. Wait a second, Scott. I'll guarantee you this. Tom Brady's record is 10 times better against teams below 500 than it is against teams above 500. And the other thing is this. Andy Dalton is rolling with Marvin Lewis and now Opie Taylor. So he doesn't really have a chance.
You know, I was looking on Daniel Jones' scouting report. It talks about works through his progressions. And I went to Andy Dalton's. Damn it, I can't find it anywhere. It's the weirdest thing. I must have... Maybe it's my eyes.
All right, we're going to stop the Andy Dalton thing right now, because if you think he doesn't work through progressions, he wouldn't still be in the NFL today, because guys that can't are gone within 2 years. So
you're telling me you saw those throws the other night. You were
all I'm telling you is this, Scott. Andy Dalton's throws.
Wouldn't do that.
Wait a second. Yes, they would, because when you don't have time to throw, you don't have time to work through a progression. When he had Andrew Whitworth, when he had Kevin Zeitler, and he had an offensive line, he did, and they made the playoffs 5 straight years. Do you know how many times Boomer Esiason and Kenny Anderson made the playoffs combined in their careers as Cincinnati Bengals?
What's his record against above 500 competition? It's terrible. He's awful.
What is he? What is his record? What is his record?
I don't know.
All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to come on a show and you're going to make some pull it out of your ass statement.
No, I know
have
it's true.
nothing to back it up.
Why
would I look it up? It's your statement. Back up your statement with some actual facts. Don't just throw this.
Feel like
well,
you
his
have
record's a lot
into
better.
a corner, and I feel nervous.
How did I back you into a corner? You backed yourself into a corner because you refused to do any homework before you came on the show.
I've made this argument before. I'm just telling you, I think.
So you made this asinine argument before with nothing to back it up.
So here's the thing, Mike. There's a lot of people that are starting to talk in Cincinnati about, hey, Dalton's contract over at what point do you say, you know what, Bengals, we're 0-5 with Dalton. Maybe we should try and see what we got with Finley. I think there's.
How do you think the quarterback is the problem?
Yeah, the only thing that is not a problem, the only quarterback.
The line sucks.
Dude, the only thing that is the problem in Cincinnati is the ownership. The only thing that is not a problem in Cincinnati is the quarterback. Right now, Andy Dalton, behind what you said is a horrible line. He is missing A.J. Green. They have absolutely no run game. And he's thrown for 1,000 yards in 3 games with a quarterback rating of 90. And you want to replace him with Ryan Finley. Wait a second.
Because he's too short.
This is the thing. He's 6'2". He's not too short. And anybody that knows anything about an NFL quarterback is you're throwing through windows. You don't have to stand there and throw it over top of everybody, because if you did, Drew Brees wouldn't be able to. Drew Brees is 3 inches shorter than Andy Dalton.
So do you think Dalton has better pocket presence than Ryan Finley?
Absolutely, because Ryan Finley's never even taken NFL snap, so nobody knows what his pocket presence is.
I just wanted to see if you and I were on the same page. I agree with that. Okay. Anyway.
So wait a second, because if you're telling me that Andy Dalton has better pocket presence,
that genius is just sitting right there.
If Andy Dalton, wait a second, so you want the guy who doesn't have as good a pocket presence to come in and lead the team?
I'm saying I think Dalton I just don't. He doesn't seem comfortable in the pocket. He has happy.
Hell no, he's not comfortable in the pocket. You know what? Tom Brady When they lost the AFC Championship game 3 years ago to the Denver
maybe
Broncos,
it's this, Mike. I think he
didn't look
makes
comfortable in the
I don't
pocket.
think he makes fast decisions.
Jesus.
I think his decision making is slow, and I don't know. It just seems like he does things. You're like, Danny, what are you doing?
He's got 2 seconds to throw.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
I can tell you that is. I've watched my team go through that. I don't care really who you are. If you've got 2 seconds to throw, great quarterbacks are going to start looking ordinary.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let me tell you, when I coached with Mr. Mike Goodpaster, we lost 50-46. The other team was throwing on us up 40, and then Mike didn't show up to school next day, and I had to deal with all the teachers making fun of us for getting our ass handed to us.
We didn't lose
and Mike
again
immediately well, whatever. But
well, we didn't.
Coaching with Mike is not the easiest thing.
Yeah,
anyway.
We changed the offense. We changed the offense, and then we didn't lose again. But let's go ahead and let's go. True is what he said there, just if anybody missed that. All right, week 4, the Philadelphia Eagles will go to Green Bay to play the Green Bay Packers on Thursday night football. The Green Bay Packers are favored by 4.5. Aaron Rodgers still doesn't look like himself, but he doesn't have to be a superhero anymore. You know, got Jair Alexander. They're playing a little defense there now, Brian. Packers are favored by 4.5. Who do you like in this one?
I'm gonna begrudgingly take the Packers in this. I don't want to, but I'm not feeling the Eagles right now, so I'll take the Packers.
All right, Scott.
I agree. This is a tough call. It's one of those games. I mean, I think there was 2 weeks ago when I said I just had this hunch about Green Bay, and I was right. And Mike, you didn't admit it.
No, I don't think you did. I think you're making shit up. Just go ahead and pick the game. This is not a hard game to pick.
I think Aaron Rodgers is going to light it up. I don't know. Then he gets hold on, Alshon Jeffrey's back, right?
Could you speak in a complete sentence?
All right, I just read Alshon Jeffrey's back. That helps us. You're just a bully.
Yes, I am. So are you going to make your pick, or are you just going to keep dicking around?
I'm taking Green Bay.
All right, I'm taking Green Bay for the simple fact that the Philadelphia Eagles' defensive backfield is atrocious. They're missing some players on offense. I think that the Packers, unfortunately, will win this game going away. Matt?
Yeah, I gotta say I agree. I think when I saw that Darby was out, I mean, I just don't think they're going to be able to stop the receivers, and the defense is playing pretty well right now. So I'm not feeling the Eagles. There's times where the Packers look really good, and then there's other times they don't look good at all. But I think in this game, I think they can win it.
All right, next up, the Tennessee Titans will travel to Atlanta to play the Atlanta Falcons. The thing that's been shocking to me here, Matt, is the fact that Atlanta's defense has not been as good as I thought they would be. They've got issues there. Marcus Mariota should be benched. I mean, he looks like A.J. McCarron to me, and when you look like A.J. McCarron, you probably shouldn't even be in the NFL. I like the Falcons here, given them 4.5 points. How about you?
So you said Tennessee's favored by 4?
No, Atlanta's favored at home by 4.5 points.
Okay, Atlanta's favored by. All right, got it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really care really for either team. I thought the Titans played pretty poorly against Jacksonville. The Falcons, there's times they look good, and then other times they look like a 3-13 team. You're right. The defense hasn't looked very good. They've had some injuries and just some bad play. But at home, Tennessee just doesn't seem like the kind of team that's going to win a game like this. So I'll take Atlanta to cover this as well.
All right, Matt or Scott.
You kind of took a lot of what I was going to say. I think these teams are.
That's hard to believe.
I mean, they're really similar, despite I think they're really 1 and 2 teams are desperate teams, and these are divisions these both can do well. I don't know. I think Tennessee. I think Derrick Henry's gonna. He's such a dang load. I think Tennessee's gonna take care of this one.
All right, Tennessee is going to beat Atlanta in Atlanta. Good job, Scott. Brian, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take Falcons. Neither one of these teams are it's hard to pick, but I think at home I'll take the Falcons in this. I just think they're a little bit better with Matt Ryan at quarterback.
All right, next up, the Baltimore Ravens will play the Cleveland Browns in Baltimore. The Ravens are favored by 5.5. Brian.
Yeah, and take the Ravens and the points. Boy, the Browns have been exactly what I kind of thought they would be, even though they do have one win. Without a good offensive line, I don't care what skill guys you have. Without a good offensive line, you're going to struggle. And everybody's getting on Mayfield about not playing as well as he did last year, and there is validity to that. But again, as we talked about earlier, if you don't have an offensive line, you're going to struggle as a quarterback, and that's really, I think, part of the problem right now.
All right, I'm going to go with Schmitty. I like the Ravens here. I'll give the 5.5 points because I think Cleveland's secondary is banged up. It's going to have a tough time stopping Marquise Brown and Baltimore's aerial attack. I think Lamar Jackson showed what he is, which is an inaccurate passer, but against defensive secondaries that aren't very good, he can be very good. Matt?
Yeah, I think the Ravens are a pretty good team. I don't think Lamar Jackson's a superstar, but he's a good quarterback. He's dangerous. He can run, and he's got he can throw deep. I think Cleveland. I thought they played the Rams pretty tough, but I thought the play calling in the fourth quarter was a bit questionable to run a draw play on fourth down when you have Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry to throw to. And like you guys said, at times Baker Mayfield just doesn't look that great. And the offensive line is not great. Cleveland is scrappy. They're not as bad as they were, but I think the Ravens at home shouldn't have too many problems in this game.
All right, Scott?
This is a weird game because I think Cleveland only lost, I think it was by a touch, like 2013 to the Rams. The Rams are they're a good team. So I think, if they won that game, they're now 2-1. They got momentum, and people. I don't think Mayfield. That's the thing is they're 1-2, and Mayfield still is really not playing like you guys were saying at all. I feel like Mayfield this is a game where he's going to start to do something because as I've said for a couple of years, I want to see how Mayfield does when things don't go well. He wants to run his mouth and all this crap, but how do they respond when pressure start to come on them? So, but I think Cleveland is going to take this one.
Cleveland. All right.
Next up, the Buffalo Bills at 3-0 will host the New England Patriots at 3-0 for the AFC East Division lead. Matt, New England is favored by 7 points.
Ooh. See, now that we're doing the spread, it's not quite as easy. But I will say this. Every time we have a division game like this, we usually have somebody in the AFC East that is looking really good, and then everyone's thinking that they're going to beat New England, and New England usually comes in and just destroys them. So I am going to take New England to cover.
All right, Scott?
Would you say, 7, Mike, or 7.5?
7.
New England's just so. They just have every game that they win. They have the ability to they won 30 to 41 by 2 touchdowns. They just, I don't know. I sometimes wonder if Belichick secretly has this I'm going to hook you guys up for fantasy football because just the weirdest things happen with that team and who gets points and who scores. Anyway, whatever. I think the Patriots are really good. I think they're going to end up in the Super Bowl again, and that's my team this week.
All right. Brian?
Patriots have had times where they go to Buffalo and struggle, but that 7 points I think is about right. So I'll take New England.
All right, I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills. I think New England will win the game. I'm going to take the Bills into 7 points. I think when you look at this, the Patriots aren't healthy. Julian Edelman suffered a rib injury last week and might not play against Buffalo. Even if he does suit up, he won't be at full strength. I think Edelman is the key to New England's passing attack, and Buffalo's defense is no joke. I think the Bills will keep it close. I don't think they're quite ready to take down the Patriots, but I think they'll be in this game all the way, and I think they'll lose by less than 7. So I'm going to take the Bills and the points.
All right.
Because I know what I'm doing, and you'll see when you watch the game. Next up, the Kansas City Chiefs, who are undefeated, will travel to the Detroit Lions, who are almost undefeated. They're 2-0-1. I got to find the point spread on this game. Hold on here. Let me go to BetNow.eu. BetNow.eu has it at 6.5 points for the Chiefs.
6.5.
The Chiefs are favored by 6.5. Brian, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I think just offensively, I think that's a real good team. I got to actually watch some of that from the game film stuff, and you know, they always look good early offensively. It's when they get to the playoffs that things tend to fall apart, time management, and everything else. But I think in this case, I think they're going to win this cover spread.
All right, Matt.
I think this is a potential. This game has the potential to have a lot of points in it, but there are times where the Lions look lost. I think they've played well at times this year, but other times they don't look that great. Kansas City's been very consistent offensively, a little up and down on the defense, but I just don't know if Detroit will be able to match them drive for drive. Well, even though I think Detroit could put up 28, 31 points, I see Kansas City putting up like 42. So I'll take Kansas City to cover.
All right, Scott.
I agree. I think Kansas. I think that's going to be a high. I could see like a 33-30 game. Would you say the spread was, Mike?
6.5.
God, this is just it feels like a trap game. I think Kansas City. I think they cover, but you know what? No, I'm going to go the other way.
What does that mean?
Give me Detroit.
He's either gay or he's going with Detroit. You're going with Detroit, right,
I'll
Scott?
accept your apology next week.
For what? I haven't even picked the game yet. Maybe I've changed my mind just because you're picking him and I know how astute you are.
How many throws did Dalton make where you were like, dang, that was bad? Jesus.
Not that many. But you know what? Really? You made all kind of Facebook posts during the game that made me think, geez, is he really that stupid? I'm going to go ahead. What?
Nothing. Go ahead.
I mean, you do. I mean, come on. Even your friends want to do an intervention when they see your Facebook
They're
pages.
stupid. They're dumb. Whatever.
Okay. I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs.
How much junior high football have they coached? That's what I thought.
How much have you coached? Okay. What's your team's record this year?
I don't know. 0-2.
Okay.
We play a lot better. So just stop it. You freaking bully.
I keep trying to move on, and you keep dragging me back in.
Sorry.
I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they just have too much offense. Detroit can't keep up. Next up, we've got the Houston Texans against the Carolina Panthers. The Texans are favored by 4 in Houston, and Kyle Allen is now guiding the Carolina Panthers ship. Can he get the win here in Houston?
This is a tough one. So I think that the thing is the Texans' pass defense is not very good. So I think that Kyle Allen actually can succeed in this kind of setting.
Texans what?
He said
I didn't catch
that. Very good.
Huh. Okay. I just wanted to make sure Texans, I heard that right.
Sorry. The Texans, I just think their pass defense is not very good. So I'm rolling with Carolina this week.
All right. Matt, I guess you disagree with him. We'll go ahead and go to you.
Yeah, he said everything I was going to say, except I'm going to say the Texans are going to beat the Panthers.
All right, Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Texans.
I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers into 4 points.
Really?
Yeah, because I think the Texans are Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins. I think they're both great. But the rest of the Houston Texans team, I think, leaves a lot to be desired. The defense doesn't have any playmakers, really, outside of J.J. Watt and Laramie Tunsil. He's just, as Joe Kelly would say on the Bengals show, he's just a guy. He's an average football player. In today's world, that makes him a highly valued offensive lineman. and that is not enough to fix a terrible offensive line. And I think the biggest reason for the 4-point spread is likely due to Kyle Allen. He had a fantastic game last week, and it seems like Vegas appears it's a one-game fluke. I don't. I think Kyle Allen, unless Ron Rivera just wants to get fired really badly, Cam Newton's never going to be the starting quarterback in Carolina again. I think Kyle Allen is a real deal. I think he's a good quarterback, and I think he has enough to score enough points for the Carolina Panthers to win this game. Plus, you've got Christian McCaffrey, who's the best running back in professional football. So I'm going to go with Scott Wilson and his junior high knowledge, and I'm going to pick the Carolina Panthers.
All right.
To at least cover this game. So there you go. Am I still a bully, you big girl?
Yeah, what does that even mean? My junior high football.
Huh?
Okay. I don't know what that means. I don't think you know what that means.
What means?
I don't know.
Okay. Next up, we're talking about junior high football coaches, and John Gruden will take the Oakland Raiders into Indianapolis to play the Indianapolis Colts. Jacoby Brissett is not Andrew Luck, but he seems to be pretty damn good so far. The Colts are favored by 7, Brian.
Ooh, I like Brissett. I like what he's doing. I'm going to take the Colts in the 7. I think it'll be like a 7 or an 8-point win. I don't think it'll be much more than that, but I like what he's doing. I think that they're going to be, a decent team throughout the season. They're not a Super Bowl contender by any means, but certainly they're going to be in, I think in that, 8 to 10 win range. So I'll take the Colts.
All right. I am going to go with the Colts also, and I think the Colts win this game like 31-10. I think the Raiders suck. I think the Colts have a good roster with a solid quarterback. Matt?
Same here. I'm surprised. I did not think Jacoby Brissett was going to be this good. Like Brian said, I don't think they're going to compete for a Super Bowl or anything, but the Colts are definitely better than I thought they would be, given the situation with Andrew Luck retiring. I think the Colts win and they cover the spread.
All right, Scott?
I think on paper it looks like the Colts should win this game.
Don't do it, Scott. Don't do it.
Wow, the Raiders.
No, I'm saying no. The Raiders, I just saw this. The Raiders have failed to cover 11 of the last 14 games when road underdogs or at least 3 points.
Sounds like you got to take them. You got to take them then.
All right, take the Raiders.
Oh, are you going to take the Rams? Did you say you're going to take the Rams?
What? The Raiders.
All right.
You're going to take the Raiders?
Listen, I've been preparing for this show. My wife is watching This Is Us right now. I've been working hard for this. We got this.
Okay. That makes me worry. Next up, Scott, we'll let you start since you like the underdogs. How many times have we seen a 1-2 team, the Los Angeles Chargers, as a 17-point favorite over the Miami Dolphins? Scott,
wow.
I'll let you go first. You got to love the points in this.
Jesus. Vegas, I wonder when the last time Vegas had a team that was so dang bad. Like, these point spreads are just well, the Dolphins are going to get blown out. So where's the game at, Mike?
It is in Los Angeles.
Well, that makes it
No, it's in Miami.
Is it in Miami?
It's in Miami.
Well, that's going to be a huge problem because it's going to be. I'm doing a wedding on Sunday. I'm officiating. It's going to be 93 in Cincinnati.
You're officiating a wedding? Wait a second.
That is a problem for
You're
the Dolphins.
officiating a wedding.
Yeah. I'm $50. You're certified Universal Life Church. Great. I'm gonna stand up and be like, hey.
I know. I could do that at 1.2. I paid
Let's
that
roll.
$10 on the internet and got my license to do that.
Yeah. So no, I think down there that the Chargers. This is tough heat to deal with. What time is the game? Is it 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock.
Yeah. I know
I
this. The Heat really affected the Ravens and the Patriots.
I'll take the Dolphins.
Do you want to just take them straight up?
Oh, you're just doing the straight up, or yeah?
No, I think the Dolphins. I think this actually game's going to be like around 18 or so. So I'm actually going to take the Dolphins.
If it's 18, you know you'll lose, right?
I know. I'm just throwing a number out there.
Okay.
I think the
You
Dolphins.
picked 1 point randomly over the spread.
Listen,
All right.
smart mouth.
And
One
then he
day.
picked the team that was getting 17 over the team he thinks will get 18. All right. Here we go.
Okay.
Actually,
Sure.
I seriously considered picking the Chargers or the Dolphins in this game because I think it's a big spread, and I don't think the Chargers are what everybody thinks they are. But since Scott went with the Miami Dolphins, I'm going to go with the Chargers, Brian.
Yeah, I didn't need the both of you on that one. I'm going with the Chargers. The Dolphins are just bad.
Oh,
Bad.
Matt, do you want to go with Scott?
No, I'm going to take the Chargers to cover. I think the Dolphins are really, really bad.
The worst team in the history of professional football.
It's going to be hotter than hell down there.
So give me your
2 weeks,
prediction,
too.
Scott. What's the score of this game? What do you got for this?
I'm thinking like 34-17.
Wait.
That would be
So
a push.
That's yeah.
Well, I don't want to
try to make your prediction consistent with your pick, so I can make some sense.
Never reveals the secrets. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Just
that's all we're getting.
Just for reference, the weather in Miami on Sunday, the high is 85 degrees and rain.
Okay.
All right. The next game, the New York Giants will will host the Washington Redskins. The Giants are favored by 3 points. Daniel Jones had a great debut against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But you've got Saquon Barkley sidelined. The Washington Redskins are rolling with Case Keenum. They have a moronic owner in Daniel Snyder and a piss-poor head coach in Jay Gruden. So, Matt, you like the Giants or you like the Redskins? Giants are favored by 3.
I don't really like either team, but with Saquon Barkley out, I'm going to take the Redskins in this game reluctantly. I don't think either team is very good, but I think Daniel Jones this coming off a big win. This is just not I think he's going to struggle with just about everybody except maybe Miami. So I'm going to take the Redskins to win.
I'm going to take the Giants. I'm going to give the 3. Case Keenum has been turning the ball over at a very high rate. I think that'll continue, even though the Giants' defense is atrocious. I think it'll be a close game, so I don't really like giving any points here. But, Brian, I'm going to take the Giants, and I'm going to give the 3 points.
I'm going to take the Giants. I don't know if the Redskins play Miami this year, but if they do, I really hope that game – I really hope that game is not on my TV.
Hey, Brian, remember this. The Dolphins also play the winless Bengals and Steelers.
Yeah, but we'll get our wins there. God, I hope. But anyway, on this one, I'm going to take the Giants.
All right. Scott?
What game is this?
This is perfect.
Just pick it. Right? Just pick it, Scott. Just pick it.
I'm going with the. I agree. I like Daniel Jones. I think
what
he's really
good.
What?
I hate to see it if you wouldn't have prepared. And right now, it's Brian and Scott that are bullying you. And it seems to me, or Matt seems to be bullying you worse than I do.
Look,
I don't think anybody's going. I think
my picks come back, and I have a bunch of winners.
By the way, that was too good.
I'm willing to offer. I also just subscribe to a online fantasy website which gives great picks. I'm willing to do 2 picks if you guys will be nice to me. But this website says it swears by.
Nobody cares.
But you have to be nice.
Says.
Anyway.
Nobody cares. It's fantasy
By the
football,
way, guys,
which is stupid.
Week 6.
Okay.
The Redskins will be hosting, or will be at Miami.
Oh God, that's probably a Thursday night game.
No, it's a Sunday noon game, but is that going to be bad?
Oh, I wish it was Monday Night Football. So, Scott, did you pick the Giants Redskins yet?
I'm picking the Giants on this. I don't. I think I'm not a big fan of Jay Gruden. I like the Giants.
All right. Next up, The Arizona Cardinals will host the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle is favored by 4, and the Seattle Seahawks are currently wasting Russell Wilson. And instead of running their offense through one of the best quarterbacks in the league, Seattle runs the ball at ridiculous rates. So, what do you think, Matt?
Well, as much as I agree with you, I think the situation with the New Orleans Saints probably took them a little by surprise. I think they come back and play better this week. But yeah, they really do run the ball a lot. But I'm going to take Seattle to win by 4 or more than 4. Sorry.
Yeah, my only worry here is Seattle's style of play, Scott, naturally lends itself to low-scoring affairs in close games. So the points here could be a big deal.
True. This is a kind of a scary game to bet on. I think the Chargers. I don't know what to make of Kyler Murray, and I know according to a lot of these point spreads, I think they're going to have a hard time getting at this. I don't think they're going to win this game. I think Seattle wins by 7, so I'll take Seattle.
Brian?
Yeah, I agree. It could be a close game. I'm going to pick Seattle. There's a part of me that wants to take the points for the Cardinals. I just don't have the confidence in them. So I'm going to take Seattle.
I guess it's my turn. I think it'll be
Scott,
a close game. What
did Scott pick?
His nose.
What? Dude, you didn't even know. So there's kids out there that do that in like 8th grade. Oh.
Scott, did you pick Arizona or Seattle, or have we haven't got to you yet?
I'm picking Seattle. Pick Seattle.
Okay.
All right.
I thought I heard him, but I didn't.
Did you
hear
pick yet, Matt?
Yeah, I got Seattle. And what do you got? You're gonna go Arizona?
I might, because I really don't think Seattle's very good. I think the offensive line is terrible, and if they're just going to run the ball, I'm still going to take Seattle. But
Come on.
Hey, don't try to bully me. I'm not Scott. All right, it doesn't work with me. Next up, we've got a rematch of the 1979 NFC Championship game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 1-2, will travel to L.A. to play the Rams. Jameis Winston is not Doug Williams, but Jared Goff could be Vince Ferragamo. What do you think, Brian?
What's the point spread?
Oh, I got to give you the point spread? That's not fair. I got to find it. Oh, the Rams are favored by 9.5 points.
Ooh. I'll take the Rams, but that's a little high. But I'll take the Rams.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I was gonna take the points, but I just can't see the Rams not winning this game by by less than 10. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna. I'm just gonna take the Rams to cover.
All right, Scott.
Where's the game again?
In L.A. Here's a better question, Scott. Where was the 1979 NFC Championship game played at? What was the final score?
What the hell? Who cared? What does this have to do with
9-0
in Tampa Bay? Go ahead, Scott. You know nothing. Go ahead.
9-0, right, Mike?
Yes, it was 9-0.
Yeah, I mean, if you Google Andy Dalton and then Finley on Twitter, guess what?
Hey, you know what? If you pick this game, we can continue the show moving forward instead of just being stuck in the freaking mud.
I think I'm taking Los Angeles on this.
All right. 9.5 points is a lot. I think
it's a lot.
I think Jameis Winston, I think, is a decent quarterback who gets hot. He's capable of putting up points, racking up yards. I think a garbage time score could easily ruin the spread for everyone, but I'm going to take the Rams anyways. I would like to take the Buccaneers because I cheered for the Buccaneers in the 1979 NFC Championship game. Scott, do you know who won the 1979 NFC Championship game between the Buccaneers and Rams?
You're this.
Well, I take it that you don't know.
Matter.
Huh?
I bet I know.
Well,
who else doesn't know?
I bet I
besides
will.
me?
I know.
everybody knows. Because
Who is it?
this
Who
is
was
the
it?
sad thing.
And we just said it.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers hadn't been the first time they were in the Super Bowl was Super Bowl 37. So that should tell you who won that game, but we'll move on from there as the Minnesota Vikings will travel to the Chicago Bears on Sunday at 4:30. This is a huge game for both teams, Matt. And
Yep.
as soon as I find a point spread, the Chicago Bears are favored by 2.5. I'll go first here. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings. I think that Matt Nagy clearly doesn't trust his quarterback, and there's good reason for it. I think the Bears, without causing multiple turnovers inside the 50-yard line, are going to have a hard time doing anything. Now, with that said, I think the Vikings have adopted a run-first philosophy. Kirk Cousins, I think, is worse off for it. Facing against this defense will not be easy, but I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings to flat out win this game, but I will take the 2.5 points also, Matt.
Blast. I was hoping you're going to take the Bears because I'm taking the Vikings as well. I think they've got a better situation on the ground. I think both defenses are very good. Both quarterbacks are not the greatest right now, but I think the Vikings have just a little bit more offense than the Bears, so I think they're going to win outright. I trust Dan Bailey more than that, whatever their kicker's name is.
All right, or Eddie Pinero or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
I used to eat at his bread store. Scott.
So the game is in Chicago, correct? So I saw that the Vikings are 6-1 against the spread in their last 7, and then Chicago 7-1 against the spread their last 8. This is I don't know. This is a really hard game to deal with because I don't like Kirk Cousins. Minnesota's 2-1. The thing is, the Vikings lost the Packers in week 2, but they've actually played pretty well overall. So I'm going to go. What the heck? I'm going to take the Vikings.
All right,
plus
Brian.
3 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Vikings. I agree with everything that you guys said. And I think it'll be a close game. It'll be a grinded-out game.
All right, next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars will travel to Denver, where they won the 1996 AFC Divisional Playoff game in one of the biggest upsets ever played in the NFL playoffs, correct, Matt?
Yeah, it sure was.
All right, so, Scott, who was the quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Who?
Okay. It doesn't matter. Forget.
Wait, was it not Bobby Brooks? No, he was with you.
It was Mark Brunell. All right, so the Jaguars.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, but you didn't. You didn't. Jaguars at the Broncos. Broncos are favored by 3, Brian.
And I am going to take the Jaguars to do what they did in 1996. They're going to win on the road against the Denver Broncos.
I am going to go with Schmidt, and I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars, who in 1996, Leon Searcy was their starting tackle, too, who was a friend of the show. Scott, do you have any friends?
And
who are you picking?
I'm picking the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think their defense is a good fantasy team to look into this week.
But this is the thing, though. See, I don't believe in fantasy
Are we
football.
playing fantasy?
I believe if you coach football, you don't have to really have a fantasy team, Scott. So I find fantasy football inane and stupid, like Madden. So.
Yes, sir. I'll just shut up and say yes, sir.
Well, I mean, if you want, we can have you on with Anthony Servino, and he can explain fantasy football for you so you could win your league.
I've won the last 2 weeks. I've won $40 the last 2 weeks.
A whole $40. What did you spend that on?
I don't play. Well, it's still on my PayPal account. But I had some good picks. I don't pick it. It's a damn algorithm that picks it. Who cares?
So you play fantasy football, but you don't pick your own team?
What? Listen, it's been a long day in Mr. Wilson's classroom, okay? I had to deal with a kid this morning who didn't want to shut up.
I am too right now.
He looked at me, he's like, I'm like, how'd this go last time? You lost last time. Stop it. You're going to lose again.
All right.
Right.
Matt,
I feel your pain.
Denver, Jacksonville. I'm taking the Jaguars. And
I am too.
I
think I don't like the Broncos very much. I think they've got some nice players on defense, but they're just not. I don't think they're really playing all that great on the defensive side of the ball, and I don't know. There's just something about the Broncos is not. They're just not. I don't think they're that good.
All right, Scott.
Jaguars. I'm going to take them to win.
Did Scott pick this game?
Yes.
The Jaguars.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we're probably all wrong.
Very good defense.
Next up, the Dallas Cowboys are favored by 3 points at the New Orleans Saints. Scott, give me a really good take on this game since you studied.
So,
What's the spread?
3.
Yeah, what's the spread? 3.
Cowboys favored by 3.
Okay.
I got you. I think Ezekiel Elliott is going to have a monster game. I think this is going to be a shootout. And
shootout.
Yeah.
Quit bullying, Matt. Let Scott make you.
No, I'm just surprised.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Cowboys on this.
All right, you're taking the Cowboys giving the points. I think the Cowboys will beat the Saints absolutely senseless. I think the Saints may have beaten Seattle this last week, but nothing about that victory was sustainable. The Saints had a punt return touchdown, a short yardage drive from a fumble, and a touchdown drive expended by a defensive penalty. Overall, Teddy Bridgewater sucks. Cowboys win. Brian?
Yes. Cowboys win, and it won't be close.
Matt?
Yeah, I just don't see how New Orleans is going to be able to reproduce what they did last week. I just don't see how them putting up a lot of points, so I agree with you guys.
Well, I think this. I hate to say it, but the best team in the NFC right now is the Dallas Cowboys. Anybody disagree?
Nope.
I'm not going to disagree with it yet. They played well.
Scott?
I will not disagree with that also.
All right.
I love their center.
Next up, the Pittsburgh Steelers are favored by 5 in Cincinnati against the vaunted Cincinnati Bengals, who someday may have an offensive line or linebackers or a head coach that's not 12 years old. Scott, who do you got here?
It's in Pittsburgh.
No, it's not. It's in Cincinnati, isn't it?
No, it's in Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's a bunch of crap, because I wasn't going to go to it either way, but I'm definitely not going to go to it now.
The thing is, both these teams are 0-3. This is not I don't know. I think this is going to be low scoring. What's the spread? 3?
It's 5. Pittsburgh is favored by 5, Scott. 5.
I want. Stop. It's a long
I said
day.
it twice right when we announced it.
I want Cincinnati. Give me Cincinnati.
Why?
Because I think a 5-point spread is. My dad's always said, when he. So 5-point spreads are dangerous ones. I think I could see a 19-17 Steelers win over the Bengals. So I'll take the Bengals. I just don't think the Steelers. It's hard without that quarterback. They're a different team. So I actually think the Bengals. I'm taking Cincinnati.
Wait a second.
I actually think they're going to win straight up.
Wait a second. How are the Bengals going to beat the Steelers if they have a quarterback that can't read progression and can't throw the football?
I just don't think the Steelers are going to. I think they're going to really struggle to score against the Bengals. I think the Bengals are a great defense.
Why would they? What? The Bengals have a great defense.
I'm saying they looked a lot better last week than they did the week before.
Because they played the Buffalo Bills offense.
Listen, I also think they got outcoached badly in the previous game. I just think
they've been outcoached badly in all 3 games, Scott.
No,
because
listen,
Obie
Mike, they
Taylor
lost,
doesn't have Andy there to tell him what to do because Andy passed away.
They looked respectable. The only people you would want coaching the Bengals are you or Jesus Christ. And they looked respectable when they lost. That's why they didn't waste your timeouts. So no, I think this could be a pretty close game. I think the Steelers. I don't know. I think young Mason Rudolph, he had a pretty good game last week too. So, I'm sticking with that. I think the Bengals win this straight up. Actually,
the Bengals win it straight up. So you just
straight up
with that instead of the 5 points.
I do.
Okay, he's taking the Bengals straight up, Scott.
Straight up.
Oh boy, Brian.
Oh man, this is going to be a fun game. I was fortunate here in North Kakalaka that they did have the Steelers game on, so I begrudgingly watched it. And, it was a close game, but the one thing that I think some of the Steeler fans who are jumping on, hey, we played well against 49ers, I think the one thing you got to remember is, yes, the reason the game was close is because in the first half, somebody must have put some grease on the football when 49ers had the ball. Because, they were a turnover machine.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me, Brian. I didn't really care for that.
Well, I didn't. Here's the thing, though. This is what I'm going to say is, let's just be honest. If the 49ers are not turning the football over, they would have scored a heck of a lot more.
That's what I was hoping to see, too.
Where you could tell, hey, great to get the turnovers, but bottom line is Steeler defense was not as good as everybody wants to talk about. But, hey,
Steelers
great they got
3-6 against the spread in the last 9 games. Steelers are 3-6. They're not. They don't. They struggle.
What are the Bengals against the spread in the last 9 games?
That's a really good question, Mike. Once again, I appreciate that. Thanks again.
But
I thought you had it in front of you. Jeez.
I don't know. Quit being a God. Hold on, dude.
But I will say that
Mason
Rudolph in the second half, I didn't think he played that badly.
I thought he played all right.
I did too, and I'm a little concerned with Connors and the running game right now. I'm not seeing what we've seen in the past, but I thought he played okay. I'm going to take Pittsburgh in this. It's more out of attrition than the fact that the Bengals aren't very good either. But I think Steeler fans, I think we've got to temper a little bit to understand that those turnovers against the 49ers, it wasn't like they were being completely forced by a great Steeler defense. So I'll take Pittsburgh in this, but only because they're playing the Bengals, and the Bengals are just as bad as we are.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I thought the Steelers defense. I don't think it's like Brian said. I don't think it's completely great, but it's good. They've got a lot of good players over there. I think Fitzpatrick makes them better. I was impressed with the way how aggressive they were. They were opportunistic. Yeah, the Niners were turning the ball over, but the Steelers were also making the play. And so I like their defense. I thought Mason Rudolph had a good second half. If they can control the line of scrimmage at all, they should be fine. I do see them winning this game. I'll take them to cover. But they've definitely got problems. But they've also got, they should have enough to win this game.
All right, Scott, do you know what the Bengals against the spread are yet?
I don't know that yet.
I thought you were looking that up.
I don't. No, actually, I think they actually are. I feel like this is going to be just a new era. I think with Lewis's record, it was so bad against Pittsburgh. I don't know. I think something's going to change, and I think the Bengals are going to start having a lot more success against the Steelers.
Marvin Lewis, I think, was undefeated against the Seattle Seahawks, and now we lost to him since he left.
Okay, I found it, Mike.
Thank you.
The Bengals are 1-9 straight up in their last 10 games.
And I just picked that. That's smart.
What is straight up? What are they against the spread, man?
I'm looking. That's the first thing that's what I got in 2 seconds of looking. So I'm still looking here.
At least you're trying.
I'm trying.
All right, I just Googled it.
Okay, here we go. They're 4-11 against the spread in the last 15 games.
There you go, Scott. So you want to change your pick, or you just want to go with this?
No, I want to stick with it. This is my
So you're one of those Bengals fans that no matter what happens, you're just going to pick them.
No, I'm telling you.
Now I'm confused.
You crapped on that pick, and then you apologize in your own little special way later on when I was right.
Crapped on what pick?
I don't know.
What pick did I apologize to you for because you made it and I didn't?
You said John Ross was a bust.
He is.
Well, we'll see.
Did you see how many passes he dropped this week? He did catch 2 balls for 22 yards, though. That was highly impressive.
Yeah.
And actually, I was
the
the one that liked him picking Ross, and you hated it. But you also liked him picking Billy Price, and that was a stupid pick because Billy Price sucks.
No, but I agree with you. I wanted Frank Ragnow. You and I agree on that.
Yeah, but you were fine with Billy Price because he went to Ohio State, and you're such a homer that you love anything from Ohio State.
Well, let's assume this O-line coach is really good, knows what he's doing.
He's not, though.
Know.
He sucks.
Well, so maybe.
If he was a good coach, why would he come to Cincinnati and coach?
I think with Zach Taylor, fresh start, see some,
Yeah, I know. Zach Taylor.
You don't have to win
wait
right
a second.
away.
I don't want to hear this. Zach Taylor is an idiot. He's 12 years old. He has no pedigree to be a head coach in the NFL. Katie Blackburn runs this team. Katie Blackburn played women's ice hockey.
Fake news. Fake news. Goodpaster at it again.
What's fake news about it, Scott? Do you ever pay attention to anything that goes on? Because if
he's
you
not
do,
12.
if you put it, no, he's 12. He needs to be smacked in the mouth because he's being a bad boy right now, and he sucks as a football coach. He looks like you.
You don't know that. Based on what? 3 games?
3 games that he's been out-coached and beaten. He played the San Francisco 49ers and never made one adjustment. He ran the exact same offense and the same defense that he ran the week before. And he got his ass
could do a
beat.
better job blocking than the Bengals. A private school female rowing team could do a better job.
So
those lines suck.
Wait a second. So are you?
Aren't you picking them?
Are you? Hold
I
on.
am.
Hold on.
Totally.
We'll get to that. But are you telling me
don't
that female rowing team's coach would probably be a better coach than Opie Taylor?
You how can you base this on 3 games?
Because I base it on what I've seen in his career. Wait a second. What I want to know is this. I want to know when you look at Zach Taylor's coaching career.
Just shit on him. What?
Are you going to shut up so I can ask you the question, or are you just going to continue with the diarrhea of the mouth?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Zach Taylor, all right? When you look at what he's done in his illustrious NFL career, what makes you think that he even deserves to be a head coach?
I think he's an offensive-minded coach. I think that finally the Bengals have something like that.
Can you tell me from his history what makes you think he can be a good head coach? Was it when he was wait a second, was it the graduate assistant work at Texas A&M? Was it the assistant quarterbacks coach at Miami? Was it being the quarterbacks coach at Miami? How about the offensive coordinator for Tommy Tuberville with a horrible UC team, an assistant wide receivers coach at LA? What here makes you think that he knows anything?
Nothing. But I just
thank you.
When I saw
win.
No, when I saw Lewis for the first time, Marvin Lewis in an interview, I'm like, I got a hunch about this guy. I think he's going to do some different stuff here, and I get a sense about Taylor. I just think there's some.
Wait a second. When you saw Marvin Lewis, you had a good feeling the first time. You have a good feeling about Zach Taylor. Marvin Lewis was a complete and utter failure, as will.
What
Zach
the hell
Taylor.
what was his name? Mr. Rogers. He didn't want I'll be back when the days. Remember Mr. Rogers? He had a good feeling. So let's move on.
Well, you had a good feeling about Marvin Lewis, though. So you were high on Marvin Lewis. You're high on Zach Taylor.
Yes, I am.
So if you're high on Marvin Lewis and you're high on Zach Taylor, I want to know what you're smoking that can get you high off of those two.
That's funny. I just think they're now offensive-minded. They finally have a coach who thinks, all right, let's not screw our timeouts. I mean, you look at the little
but
things.
He does.
Wait
a second. The first 3 games, they had 1 timeout left in the last 5 minutes of each half, Scott. How can you say he doesn't do that?
But I also take a coach who owns up and said, look, that's my fault. I got to fix that.
Oh, God. You know what I would like? I would like a head coach that didn't have to say it was my fault because it wasn't his fault because the Bengals won. Instead, as a Bengals fan, you'll grasp onto anything. So, you know what? If your son burns your house down, but he comes up and says, Dad, my bad. I burned it down. You're going to pat him on the head and say, I'm so proud of you for telling me, son. No, you're going to smack him upside the head and say, you dumbass.
You freaking bought an Amazon movie on our account. You learned how to download that crap. And a movie you already had. Oh, my God.
Good
You sounded like one of those Valley girls from the early 80s. Oh, my God.
Stop.
Grown men don't say,
I'm
oh, my
done now.
God, by the way. They don't even text
Killing me.
OMG. Am I right, Brian?
I'm done. I'm done. Let's move on.
You guys-
Oh God, that was great.
Fun.
How about
That
this?
was memorable.
Tell me the NFL and CFL team that Zach Taylor played for when he was growing up.
He's been around football a long time, Mike. He's
Tell
an
me
offense.
the NFL team.
You and him think the same way. You're both.
I have
attack-minded.
two, and I've never
We do
coached.
not think the same way because, number one, he
No, I'm
played for the
saying you're
Tampa Bay
attack-minded.
Buccaneers.
You're off.
Yeah, I'm attack-minded, and you're finding that out once again. So that's the way it is. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Winnipeg
Yes, sir.
Blue Bombers would be the answer to those questions. See, you assumed that I was tearing him up because I was saying he didn't play in the NFL or the CFL. But you were wrong, and see, from your vast research to find out that he's the right guy, you didn't even know that he played in the NFL and the CFL.
So will he get the Bengals successful in the playoffs before the Reds do?
I don't think that will ever happen, that either one will ever be in the playoffs. And I think the Reds are closer to being a playoff team than the Bengals.
Don't worry.
I agree with that. I agree with
The
that.
Bengals right now would
I
need
disagree
7
with that, that's
offensive
for sure.
linemen, 4 linebackers, 2 corners, and a partridge and a fucking pear tree. They're not going to the playoffs anytime soon.
But 2 of their 3 wins, 2 of their 3 losses, they've looked respectable at least.
Oh, my God.
I mean,
Wait
they
a
lost
second. Last year, Marvin Lewis lost 7 games by less than a touchdown. He was 5-11, and he lost to Andy Dalton. So what you're telling me is they should have kept him because, damn it, in those 7 close games, they looked really good, and they almost won. And if they'd have won every one of them, they'd have had 12 wins. I can tell you this, Scott. Almost every team in the history of the NFL, the 0-16 Detroit Lions lost 9 games by less than a touchdown. What it tells you to lose a close game is you probably got out-coached. You don't know what the hell you're doing. You need to go back with Aunt B down in Mayberry.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
I feel like you understand me, Mike.
If the Bengals looked respectable the last 2 weeks, what was the reason for it? What was the reason they looked respectable?
Because they played the
Yeah.
Bills and the Seahawks.
No. What players played well to keep them in the game?
Yeah, Scott. Who kept them in the game this week in the first week?
If you thought they looked respectable, why was that?
I'll get to the phone, son. So hold on, son. So no, I'm looking at this from a total new coaching standpoint.
I hate to tell you this, but you were asked a direct question from Mr. Andruscavage, who deserves a response.
I'm giving you the answer. So here's what I like. They may go 0-16, whatever.
Okay.
But I'm looking.
I don't think I
how
asked
they
that.
do.
Yeah, he didn't ask that. He asked what players kept them in the game.
I think they were
so
better
far.
coached. I think they were better coached.
Did you watch the 49ers game? The 49ers
No, I
game,
don't.
I mean, looked like, like the greatest Madden player of all time playing against a kid with no hands.
Can I answer what player has made them at least?
Yes, you
respectable?
may, Brian
Can I-
Schmidt.
Andy Dalton.
Oh,
20 for 36.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't know how you can down Andy Dalton and then say the Bengals are respectable when Andy
Oh,
Dalton's
my God.
putting up the numbers that he's putting up. I
He
mean,
was 20 for
seriously.
36. One,
if it's not Andy Dalton, Scott, then you got to tell me who was keeping them in the game. If it wasn't Andy Dalton, who was it?
yeah, and remember, they
I
can't
don't-
run the ball, and their
I don't-
defense is atrocious. So tell us who did it.
Right, which we've all agreed on.
Hey, when we get to a point, I have a question.
Okay.
Well, Mixon had 61
Well, you're going to
yards
be in my
rushing.
boat, Brian. 'Cause I don't
Mixon
think
ran
my,
for 4.1 yards.
Hey, I hate to tell you this, but if you're Joe Mixon and you've rushed for 61 yards and averaged 4 yards a carry, you didn't do your damn job.
But Mike, here's the thing: we're 7 years into Dalton's career, and we're doing the same stuff. We're 0-3. We've got a different system. Do you think honestly Dalton's going to be here and start next fall?
You know what
That's
I
not the
honestly
question.
think?
That
I
is not
honestly
the
think that you
question.
were asked a question that you didn't answer, and also the fact that you think Andy Dalton's been here 7 years shows a lack of knowledge and a lack of understanding of the fact that this is
He's
his
been
ninth
2012.
season. Ninth
Auden
season,
Tate, your boy
2011.
Auden Tate
You're off by
Sayers,
2
who
years.
played well. I
And
think
wait a
Auden
second.
Came in with
played
Cam
well.
Newton.
Wait a second.
I think Tyler
5.
Boyd played well. Auden Tate,
5.
Tyler Boyd
Well,
played
who's
well.
throwing Tyler Boyd the ball?
Yeah.
No, listen, I'm not arguing. Like you're basically like, oh, look, Dalton threw him the ball. No,
Well, come
Dalton
on.
makes some really
James,
stupid.
I don't
Did you
understand.
hear that Dalton makes really stupid decisions during the games, like that, where the announcer
Brian, I
was
wanna
like,
hear
Dalton,
your
what
question.
the hell were you thinking?
All right. Let me ask you this, Scott.
You
Brian,
can't win
go ahead
with
and ask your
Dalton.
question, Brian. You can't win with Dalton.
Okay.
Wait a second. I got to address this. Who is the best quarterback in Bengals history?
That's like saying, what's the worst?
Okay,
punt?
can you
Dog
answer
ass
the
crap
question?
and a
Because
big
Kenny
fine.
Anderson's a Hall of Famer, whether he's in it or not. Boomer Esiason won an
Who's
MVP.
the best quarterback?
Who's the best
they
quarterback?
all suck. Come on.
So
Buy
Kenny
Boomer
Anderson
Esiason.
sucked.
Esiason. Give me Esiason.
Well, you're absolutely
Give me
ignorant
Anderson?
if you think Boomer Esiason is better than Kenny Anderson.
I sure as hell don't want Andy Dalton. Hell no.
Okay,
They
now,
all suck, though.
do you know something? Do you know who's got a better winning percentage as a Bengals quarterback than anybody that's ever wore the orange and black?
That is not saying a whole lot.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Eli Manning, for his career, is 4 games over 500, and he's won 2 Super Bowls. Is he a winner?
Do you know what franchise loves Dalton more than the Bengals love Dalton? Buffalo.
Yeah.
An opposing franchise truly loves him more.
I
than
hate to
his
tell
own
you
home
this, Scott, but
franchise.
nobody cares, and that has no bearing on anything we're talking about right now. If a quarterback, let me look at some quarterbacks' records. 68-53, is that a good record?
I don't have a Charger.
What?
Sorry.
Scott?
Somebody else-
68-53, is it a good record?
But again,
If it's not,
Okay,
I'm not even
yes.
talking about Andy Dalton. I'm asking you this. If your record is a starting quarterback, I'm just looking at every starting quarterback's record. I'm just throwing a
what does
number out
Dalton
there.
do well? Honestly, what does Dalton do well
He
besides
wins.
his
Wow.
talent's
Besides,
really cute?
throw the ball well. Besides,
He wins.
Oh wow. I mean, he's not great, but he's a good quarterback.
Let me roll in here for a second
Go
on
ahead.
this Andy Dalton thing. Andy Dalton, is he the best quarterback in the NFL? Has he never been? No, but he's been a good
No.
quarterback. But here's the thing
He's good.
that we continue to miss.
Yeah.
How
Go
do
ahead.
you expect a quarterback? How do you expect a quarterback? And you're supposed to be a coach. How do you expect a quarterback that gets no time to make good decisions and good throws when he has no time? Go back and look at Andy Dalton when he had a better offensive line. Look at the throws. Look at the decision making. Okay, if
I
you are
was at
driving
the
your
San
car,
Diego game. He was atrocious in that playoff game that they should have won.
They should have
Yeah,
won.
he was terrible.
okay.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: you're talking about
he's like
one
John
game.
Cooper. There's some guys that just cannot coach it.
Can
or
you
play
let
in the
Brian
big game.
talk? Because you know what? If you're going to sit here and
Sorry.
claim that a quarterback is 68-53 for his career, has taken a team to the playoffs 5 straight years, the 5 straight years that he had an offensive
What
line.
does he do well as a quarterback? Like seriously, physically, what
What does he
do well?
do
You like-
poorly?
You like Andy? You like AJ
What does he do
McCarron?
poorly?
How can you?
AJ McCarron, get him on the show. Seriously.
Dude,
Promise.
nobody cares about A.J.
Oh,
McCarron.
Good God.
Nobody
Oh.
cares. He's a backup in Houston. He'll be a backup
was-
his whole life.
Brian, it was a good try.
Yeah. I mean,
It-
this is the thing. He makes asinine comments on Facebook all the time. At 14-0, Ryan Finley should be the starter. Andy Dalton shouldn't play anymore.
Did
And then
you
the Bengals
see the
come back.
throw he threw against Buffalo last week? I think it was to Tate at the end.
The one that was
it
tipped?
It looked like a.
I think
It
he
was
might,
awful.
It
still
was
might be
tipped.
missing the point.
It was tipped. How about
Yeah,
this?
the point is not here.
Go ahead.
Okay, let's try it another way.
Try it again, Brian.
God, you're standing in the middle of the road, and you're facing my car, and I bring my car at 100 miles an hour at you, but you're facing my car. You have an opportunity to get out of the way. However, if I make you turn around and I bring my car at 100 miles an hour to your back, which is what a lot of times Andy Dalton is getting because he's getting pressure from all sides, you're not going to make a very good decision, and I'm going to run over you. That's what he's dealing with.
If you're coming to me 100 miles an hour like that, I will not make a good decision. No, I just think Dalton is what he is. I don't think he does anything outstanding enough.
Right.
Scott,
it's
really
a good try.
It's
a good try.
Scott, you make yourself sound like
I accept your apologies. I forgive you
what
guys.
What you got, Scott, is this. You are a typical Bengals fan. And by a typical Bengals fan, you talk about things you have no clue about. And when you look at this, 24 come from behind wins. 24 game-winning drives at the end of games.
That was all AJ Green, Mike.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, and the reason Buffalo loves him is because he led a dramatic end-of-the-game drive in Baltimore against the Ravens, who were trying to make the playoffs. The Ravens win that game. They're in the playoffs. That's a Ravens team with a winning record, Scott. And Andy Dalton took him like 70 yards in like 22 seconds and won the game.
I've got a great idea. Let's read I'll say a scouting report on one of these three quarterbacks, Dalton McCarron.
How about this? Let's do this. How about this? Let's do this. Scott, shut up for a second and listen, because I don't care what a scouting report from somebody that is not me says. So let's do this. I'll write a scouting report. You write a scouting report for all of them, and we'll see what makes sense. Because you know what? Just because some fat ass at NFL Network who's never done shit in his life writes something about Andy Dalton doesn't make it true. All right? This is the thing. If you've never coached a quarterback, you've never been a quarterback, shut up. If you were a wide receiver at Marymount, shut up.
Do not mention that. No.
Because you know it.
Oh, God.
Stands well in the pocket. Take a guess which quarterback that is.
Who wrote this?
I don't know. I just made that up.
I don't know.
What? Don't know.
This show has.
Are we doing a show? I thought we were just talking.
All right.
I was going to say, I'm sure Mike is editing this.
So if there's anybody out there still listening, you're probably a Bengals fan and wondering why Scott has not been traded to be a
20
fan
after
for the
10
Cardinals.
my time, and I'm arguing for
They
Andy
are
Dalton.
better human beings to listen to this.
Okay. And so everybody knows, Scott Wilson is a guy who hates Andy Dalton, but he loves Pete Rose. Andy Dalton donates thousands of dollars
Height is not a deal. Lacks elite characteristics, products of spread offense. You want to keep going?
I hate to tell you this, but being a product of a spread offense is what Kyler Murray is, and he was a first-round pick. It's what Patrick Mahomes is, because he came out of the air raid, pretty much a spread offense. So I hate to tell you this, but being a product of a spread offense in 2019 is not a bad thing, is it, Brian?
I think it's kind of common, too, isn't it?
Ben Roethlisberger was a product of a spread offense, both at Findlay High School and at Miami of Ohio. We can start Jackson with the Ravens is a product of a spread offense. Gardner Minshew is air raid personified, being at Washington State.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield.
You can even get into some of the quarterbacks that aren't very good. Case Keenum, was at Houston. That's spread offenses is what the NFL is becoming. I'm sitting here watching the Kansas City Chiefs right now play the Baltimore Ravens last week, and I haven't seen but maybe one play of either team being under center. But it's become.
So the question is this, Scott. So do you think a product of a spread offense is a bad thing for an NFL quarterback?
No, if it's the right system, but I think there's
if it's the right. Wait a second.
No,
explain to me. No, shh. Just answer me one question. All right? Because the thing is this. To make yourself look like you know what you're talking about, I'm going to give you the opportunity to discern for me the difference between the spread offense Andy Dalton ran at TCU and the spread offense that Baker Mayfield ran at Oklahoma. Just give me kind of the differences, or you can even go with a different spread offense that you prefer over what they did at TCU.
Okay. I think I detect some sarcasm in your question.
No, there's no sarcasm here. I want you to
I don't
explain
think
to
there's
me.
any
Wait, no.
one was Mayfield's more or less of a read option. Mayfield was just a quick little.
No, he was not.
And the air raid that they ran with Baker Mayfield in Oklahoma that Lincoln Riley runs has a tight end and a fullback, which is more conducive to an NFL quarterback. Tell me what was not conducive about TCU's offense in 2010 that Andy Dalton ran.
They didn't run the ball.
Quit typing. Quit looking it up, Scott.
I'm not looking it up. I'm just telling you straight up. I'm looking at Mayfield's website right now. He's got some smoky eyes. I would. I don't know. They didn't run the ball. They just threw the ball, didn't they?
That is. Wait a second. I was hoping for like a little scheme thing where you could tell me what they did that wasn't conducive to the NFL.
So what they did that not conducive to the NFL, having a spread. Basically, he doesn't go through any set you got to do this first and this. I think Dalton needs that. And I don't think his brain works well any other way.
All right, how about this?
I don't think he's a very smart quarterback.
Wait a second. Answer me this. With TCU's air raid, are you telling me that the quarterbacks didn't really have a progression or reads?
I think TCU, their coach, and the success that they've had, it's really translates well. I'm not saying no to what you're saying, but I don't think that's a really fair comparison comparing that to Dalton.
Okay, so
Dalton was not seen as like a home run pick when they got him. Keep that in mind.
Let's roll with
better
this.
Than what they had, but I just don't think he lacks height. You really trust him to lead the Bengals to the Super Bowl? Come on.
I don't think he can hear you, Brian.
Yeah.
Dear God. All right, so 2010, Texas Christian. Andy Dalton only threw the ball 25 times a game. He threw for 2,857 yards, 27 touchdowns. They ran the football on average 46 times a game for 247 because they had three really good running backs. One of them actually I coached indoor football with. The bottom line is, yes, they were spread, but it was more of a professional spread offense because it wasn't a lot of zone read with it. They used the tight end. They did different things. It was a pro-style professional spread offense at a time in 2010 when you didn't see a lot of that in college football. College football spread at the time was the Oregon was the big deal with the zone read. You were seeing a lot of that stuff. You were either seeing air raid or zone read. He was in a professional system that had professional reads. Again, you keep saying he can't read a defense. He's read a defense. You can't read something.
You don't know what the offensive play call is, and you don't know what the defense is. Go ahead, Brian.
I know the game I was at. Zaba was wide open. He can't read right. Doesn't even look at him. He throws a pick six against the Broncos.
This seems somewhat hopeless.
You can't read something. You can't read something when you don't have time.
At what point is Dalton just going to all of a sudden be able to transform into this? I can lead a team. You can trust me. I won't do stupid things. I won't. He doesn't have ideal arm strength. He lacks elite height. He's not fast.
Elite height? Wait a second. He's 6'2".
He's not 6'2". He's not 6'4". Elite 6'4".
No.
Come on.
I can tell you this. Name me the top 10 quarterbacks that are 6'5" or taller.
Wow, too bad Joe Montana.
I'll tell you what. Joe Montana was 6'1".
What?
Joe Montana was 6'1".
First of all, I'm a junior high football coach, and I think this is, if I'm listening to this show, I'm like, man, those guys are being mean to a junior high football coach. I accept your apology. Believe me.
Okay? Nice. We're being mean to somebody that thinks they know something. Where
we're trying to talk. I like to have good dialogue, and I just, wow. I'm surprised.
The thing that's mind-blowing here is this. You ripped the offense they ran, and really Gary Patterson's the coach there. TCU's offense was the first college offense that I think evolved into a little bit of what Lincoln Riley's done at Oklahoma, Brian.
Yes. What Lincoln Riley is an air raid concept that uses fullback and tight end, and he's developed a lot more of the pro style stuff. So, I mean, like Y cross and those things that are pro style air raid stuff. Well, he uses a lot of that with tight end. A lot of the running game is a lot of the pro style running game. It was the same thing minus a lot of the air raid concepts. It was the same thing that TCU did. The exact, go back and watch 2010 TCU. That year, I believe they were 12-0. I want to say they were 12-0.
Isn't it true? Like Dalton never had to make, but like so these offenses are going
so
fast.
Dalton led a game-winning drive against Wisconsin at the end of that Rose Bowl.
Can I say something? Okay, great, but I'm saying I think in the spread, these offenses are moving like pretty quick. Sometimes like breakneck speed, depending on which team. And the quarterback really isn't spending. Now, can I talk? The quarterback is not spending any time making pre-snap adjustments during that, based on what the defense is showing. That's what
This is what it sounds like to me. I don't think it matters how much you try to explain one way or the other. I think just because Dalton doesn't have 5 championships, there's nothing he's ever going to do that's going to make you happy.
No, I just don't think he can. I just don't think he's capable of doing it. I just don't.
Yeah, 5 titles. Or, anybody could just go get 5 titles.
Anybody can go to 5
titles. How many people actually get 5 titles? I mean, Brady got 5. Come on. There's that many.
Wait a minute. As a spread air raid guy for the last 20 years of actually more than 20 years now. And when we were outside, we played fast. What makes you think that they're not making pre-snap reads? We make pre-snap reads.
No, listen, So look, I don't think they're doing it now. I mean, I think Dalton could be doing it now. I don't think because what I would look at, I would see Dalton. He goes up and if his helmet again, you guys made fun of me last time on this. You see Dalton, he locks in. And that's where he goes. And I don't you see other quarterbacks, their helmet is swiveling. It says that about Finley. He knows how to make pre-snap reads. If you watch him in the preseason, his helmet's going back and forth. That tells me one guy's not available, another guy. But I do have a personal football question. What is the difference between the air raid and the spread? I honestly don't know. And you ran it, so what? And I don't understand the difference.
I guess it depends on what kind of spread you're running. But the air raid is primarily a horizontal concept offense. Now it's gotten more into the horizontal and vertical stuff now. But when it started out, it was a horizontal offense, shallow cross, mesh, Y cross, things like that. The idea of the air raid is to get the ball out quick and put the ball into athletes' hands and let them make plays. So Washington State, which is still true air raid, you watch Washington State, there's a lot of 5 and 6 yard passes that are turned into 30 and 40 yards because you're getting athletes the ball in space and moving.
You think that you like that? Like if you had to pick between those two,
air raid's better.
Would you go with the air raid?
Oh, okay. I take the air raid. Now I like where guys like Neal with West Virginia and a lot of the air raid guys now, they're incorporating a lot of the RPO stuff into the air raid, which actually Leach has done at Washington State. But that's the real key is it's get the ball out quick, get the ball into athletes, let them score. Now, when I ran at the high school level, my first time running it, I didn't have athletes, but we were still getting the ball into space, and they were turning 5 yard gains into 30. Then when I had athletes, they were turning 5 yard gains into 90. But that's all it is. It's the ability to be able to pre-snap read and also to go through a progression. I've had quarterbacks that can go from the first progression to the 5th progression because they just know based on the way the defense is set, my 5th progression is going to be there, so they'll just throw the swing. That's the difference. Now, what you're seeing, like with the not Atlanta, but Arizona, you're seeing a lot of the air raid concept. The problem right now is he doesn't have the pieces to be successful yet. I don't know if it ever will be, but he definitely doesn't have the pieces to be successful yet. But you still, if you watch Arizona, you'll see some really good stuff. And Ohio State. Yeah, I'll tell you this: Ohio State does run some air raid concept because of Wilson. because Wilson's an air raid guy. He was an air raid guy in Indiana. So they do run some of that. Him and Dave do run some of that. So actually, when you watch Ohio State, sometimes you'll see some air raid.
You said Arizona's a really good team to watch.
Arizona's good. They run air raid, but they don't have the athletes. I would look at the college level, and you can start with Washington State, and Houston runs it. Oklahoma runs it. God, I can sit here and probably name. North Texas runs it. North Texas is really good. North Carolina runs it. The guy that's actually the offensive coordinator of North Carolina was the head coach of Sam Houston, and he's one of the first coaches, him and the head coach of Houston, they're one of the first coaches to really incorporate the RPOs in it. And so instead of having your quarterback have to run the football, well, now you're just run pass option and everything.
Guys, I got to head out. But it was really great talking to you guys.
And we're going to wrap up because now maybe Scott knows something. Scott, you can send us each a check for $50. And
yes.
That's about it.
Yes.
All right, guys. We're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap it up because Matt's got to go. And when Matt's got to go, the show is over.
Right.
Make sure you check the NFL show out with me and Anthony Servino every day, Monday through Friday at noon. Scott, you can listen to it on your lunch break. You can hear all our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, Spotify. Make sure you hit up betnow.eu with the promo code TG or Truth100 to get a 100% cash back bonus. Scott, you ought to do that. See if you can make some money with your wonderful picks this week. So for Scott Wilson, Matt Andruscavage, Brian Schmidt, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.